What's up, YouTube? Let's play some Run 8. We're going to be running the hottest of hot intermodal trains between Chicago and Jacksonville down to Fitzgerald sub. It's going to be the Q121. Let's go ahead and hop into cab. We're in Manchester. We just did our crew swap here, our crew change. Just rolled in from Birmingham, and we're going to take her south down to Fitz. Everything looks good so far. We got 10 pounds under her, full independent. Everything else is good. So yeah, I think we're going to be fine. Let's go ahead and open up the throttle, release the brake, and we'll come out of the independent. So it's December the 15th, 2003 is what we're going to say, 2003. And she is 9,030 feet long, 6,700 tons. Yeah, she's a beast, right? Like, we got the Christmas rush, so we got to get all these packages moved here. There we go, get our wipers on. We got a little bit of rain. A little bit of rain falling there. Open up the throttle a little more. I've said in many other videos, and when it comes to Southeast routes, I am an air guy. I love using air on trains. I use air almost exclusively. Every once in a while, dynamics, but with this train being 9,000 feet long and no DPU to help pump the air up, we're going to, like, I'm going to barely touch the air. I'd much rather use dynamics on this particular train than using the air, because it's going to take so long for this train to set up and release. It'd just be best not to touch it, right? Unless you have to. Like, if you're stopping or something, you will. But the flip side to that coin is the fact that she is 9,000 feet long. It's going to be the train of averages. So your grades are going to average out more. Your speeds are going to average out more because you're going to be hanging out like across multiple speed restrictions at times. You know, she's going to average out just pulling through curves. Like, she may be sweeping through multiple curves at one time, and so the rolling resistance of all those curves. Either way, she's going to run a lot different than let's say a 5,000 foot bowling ball, right? 5,000 feet, 10,000 tons, something like that. So it's going to be a fun train. It's going to be very, very different. I don't run a lot of long trains. I'm not a huge fan of them. I'd much rather have something short and heavy that you can kind of be liberal with the air use, but it doesn't take you, 2 days for the air to set up and release. So yeah, this is definitely going to be different. Let's see. We do have the 10 right here. Let's get that pulled up. There we go. We do have the 10 here. That's the other sucky part of this train, is that it's going to take us forever to get out of this 10-mile-an-hour slow order. It's going to take us a hot minute, that is for sure. In today's railroading standard with PSR, 9,000 feet is nothing. Like, that's a drop in the hat, right? You see trains 12, 15, sometimes longer than that, 15,000 feet. Back in the day, 9,000 feet, I definitely would have considered this a really long train. Like, we had some that were longer, but it was super rare. It wasn't all the time, just for the fact that there wasn't a lot of places that could accommodate a train this long. So it's one of those deals. If you got a really long train like this back in the day, you were going to do one of two things. You were either going to run like crazy and not stop for anyone, like everyone would go in the hole for you because there's only a few places you'd fit, or you would go in the hole somewhere and just wait forever on everyone. So not as big of a deal on the Fitzgerald sub because they have a lot of sidings that can accommodate a 9,000 foot train, but on the northern side, yeah, it was kind of a big deal back in the day. All right, there we go. We're through 10. We'll back out of the throttle just a little bit and see about getting out of here. I got the yard tracks are empty. I guess they cleaned it out for Christmas, right? They took all the stuff out of there. The yard was never like super full that I can remember. It would have its moments, but sometimes it could be pretty empty. But yeah, the Q121, I think nowadays she's a IO25 or something like that. I don't know, they've changed the stuff around a whole lot and I don't really keep up with it, but I think she might be the IO25. But yeah, this train was hot, and maybe it still is. If I'm sure they still have the service. This was a train that I've told the story about, that I was conductor on one night, and we were running about 4 or 5 hours late, and the chief dispatcher literally got on the radio and said, open broadcast on the road channel to everyone, said, if anyone delays this train anymore, you will be looking for a job tomorrow. Like, that's how serious they were about this train. And it was only, like, in my mind, it was only about 4 or 5 hours late at that point. But it was running late for a multitude of reasons, which we'll get into later. But yeah, they were serious about this train. The funny thing is, the reciprocal 120 going back north wasn't nearly as hot as the southbound train. The northbound train, if I remember correctly, it didn't have as many loads on it. You got to think, we're talking about a time when truck trailer traffic was still really dominant. Like, during this time period that I can remember, we had some double stacks on these trains, but it wasn't a whole lot. Like, they were still really heavy into truck trailers and that sort of thing. So yeah, there wasn't as much going north. And you know, I mean, really, if you think about it, Florida's kind of a consumer economy, right? Like, they didn't ship as much out as they took in, it seemed like. But you could get really good trips on the 121. You were not guaranteed to get good trips on the 120. Like, more than likely, you were going to go in to hold a meet, probably multiple trains. Really, like, it just didn't seem very hot. All right, there we go through Elm Street. We need to get Otto going. I totally forgot about him. Engage Otto. Let's go channel 14. And we'll need to do tone 5. There we go. ETMF star 5. Yeah, we do have a stop down here. Hopefully we can get a light before we get too far down there. We're kind of anticipating the light a little bit. Come on, hurry up. There we go. Yeah, definitely shouldn't anticipate a light. You never know. You may not get one, and then, like, if you wait too long, then you're in trouble. Come on, Otto, give me a light. There we go. All right, now we're good. Otto did it for us. Go and crack the throttle some more. Yeah, we're still hanging out in that 10, and we're going to be hanging out like we're not even halfway through it yet. It's going to take us a while. So we called up. You look at dispatcher board here. Fitzgerald subdivision AR channel 14 tone 5. Lineville sub campground Childs AR channel 58 tone 7. Manchester sub Gate of Manchester AR channel tone 5. This was a little bit different. When I did it, this was different. We wouldn't call the Fitzgerald sub dispatcher until we got down here on the south end. Everything from the south end up to around Childs and up the Manchester sub, that was all BG dispatcher. They actually had control of this back in the day. I don't know if they still do now. It could be like completely different, but that's what they did back in the day. All right, let's watch her speed. She's getting a little bit fast on us. She's wanting to run pretty good. We do have 2 or 3 -9s on the head end. We'll look at them real fast here. 3 -9s. Now, when I caught this train back in the early 2000s, it was pretty much exclusively always 2 AC 6000s on the head end, and then one -8 to round it out to a 3-unit set. But like, that was probably, those trains, 120 and 121, were probably the only trains that I ever remember getting AC 6000s on. I think there was one other time I got an AC 6000 on a slop freight, and I remember that being kind of like surprising to me because you just didn't see them out there anywhere. They were always on these pigs. Why they put them on the pigs, I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense as to why they would put those in pig service. You'd think that would be like in heavy coal train service or something. But yeah, there's always be 2 of those and then some kind of Dash 8, like a Spartan cab Dash 8 or a wide cab Dash 8, something like that. That's what they'd have. Man, we're still hanging out in that slow order. Yeah, it's going to take us a hot minute to get out of that. For sure. We're going to start climbing up the grade. Yeah, we're already on 0.8. So we're going up Pine Mountain, right? We're running parallel to Pine Mountain, and we're kind of going up the side of it, and then we'll cross over at Dunn Gap and then go back down. Is kind of how it works out. Yeah, we still got, what, 2,000, about a little less than 2,000 feet back there. But yeah, we go down the other side of Pine Mountain down to 1% grade. I don't even think it's going to take that much dynamic brake on this train, to be honest. Like I said, if we're on a 5,000 foot, 10,000 foot, or 5,000 foot, 10,000 ton bowling ball, it would be a lot different. Like, we'd be using the air and dynamics, but we shouldn't have to get very far into dynamics on this train. Just really waiting on us to clear that that 10. It's going to go 20 and then 30. We'll probably just kind of well, I mean, really by the time we hit the 20, we'll probably be hitting 20 by the time we get clear of the 30. What I'm thinking. We do have a few meets out there. It's not crazy busy on the railroad today, but there are a few meets out there. We'll have a handful. All right, we're coming up on it. I'm just ready to crack that throttle. It seems like it's taking forever for us to get out of here. All right, there we go. We're into 20 now. We should be getting pretty close to the 30 as well. Also, you guys know, if you ever pay attention to how I run, I'm pretty liberal with the throttle. I'll wipe the throttle. I get pretty rough with it. It's not a big deal as long as, like, you know how and when to apply it. But this is a train I'll definitely run. I'll be a lot more gingerly with it as far as like how I do the throttle and that kind of stuff, because there's so much slack in it. Like, it's like a big rubber band with all those cushion draw heads and stuff like that. All right, we're into 30 now. Let's go ahead and crack some more. Blast off and get out of here. Make sure everything's looking all right. OBS has been giving me a hell of a time here lately. I don't know why. I hope I've got it fixed this time, but there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee it's fixed. It's so weird. It was fine until it wasn't fine. Like, OBS has been great with me for years, and then all of a sudden one day it just decided it wanted to start acting up, and I don't know if something updated somewhere, somehow. I don't know. But like, I have had a serious hard time with OBS here lately, so that's why we haven't had as many videos, or partly, like, part of the reason. So I just want to make sure, like, everything looks to be okay so far. I kind of wonder if it's my new webcam, because that's about the time my problem started. Basically what it's doing is, like, when I hit stop recording, it won't stop. It's like it's froze up. Like, it's still recording. Like, it just keeps recording until I have to Control Alt Delete out of it, and then I lose the video. Like, the video corrupts, unfortunately. So it really sucks when you do like an hour-long video and it doesn't work out for you. All right, it's Dunn Gap, so we're cresting. The actual in-game crest is a little bit south of Dunn Gap. That's a little bit off. It should be like right here in the gap, but it's close enough. And we're going to be hanging out in this 30 for a while. You see the grade's lessening a little bit, but it's still about 0.5 right here. One, 4, 3. It's a nice early December morning. I'm digging the rain. The rain's pretty cool. Something different. There, let's just watch our acceleration. I don't, like I said, I don't want to have to touch the air if I can avoid it. It's just, you know, if you grab some air, you're going to be hanging on to the air for a good while before it ever sets up on the bottom. And you're going to be hanging on to the air for a good while before it ever releases. So it's like, it's going to have a lot more of a drastic effect just for the length of time that you got to have it. That's like one of the major downsides to these long trains. And then it being December, I don't know what the temp is in game, but that might have an effect on it as well. There, let's watch. Because she is so spongy, or she's like a big rubber band. Like if you watch the accelerometer, it's like it's all over the place. So I have to watch the actual like speedometer to see what she's really doing to get a good accurate idea. Even then, she's still kind of all over the place. It's a strange sensation if you've ever been on a train like this, a really long, like intermodal train or something. You can feel it. It's hard to explain. I'm trying. It's almost like I don't know. It's almost. I guess the best way to explain it is like riding on the end of a rubber band. Like you can feel it pulling you back, or you can feel it kind of pushing you along. Like it's just it's a weird sensation. All right, I bet we still haven't even crested the grade back there with the bottom. All right, CSXQ 12115's got a clear distance to Woodland. 9023 south out. So that's the distance to Woodland. It's going to be 1% downhill to Woodland, and then Woodland is going to flatten out. So you're going to go down into it. It's going to flatten out, and then it's going to drop off again at just around the south end of Woodland to the Big Liza Creek at the bottom. Let's start getting ready to get into dynamics here. The bottom must have crested back there. Seems like it did. So yeah, working the throttle and dynamics, I'm going to take my time a lot more with this train. A lot slower and deliberate actions. Now go to B2. Going to B3. B3 should be good. She's not like taking off on us or anything. It's crazy. It's like, unless you guys like, I don't know. I'm sure not all of y'all have Run 8. Y'all don't run, you know, y'all don't do train simulators and stuff, but it's just really amazing how different this train would run from, like I said, something that's 4,500 feet, 5,000 feet, you know, 10,000 tons. It's like literally like night and day. All right, there we go. Got diamond board there. I'm not sure what was on that, but we're going to count it off. Yeah, it's so incredibly different. If we were to take, you know, 4,600 foot, 80 car coal train down this hill, we'd probably definitely have 10 pounds under it and some dynamics. There we go, by the DD. Another thing with this train, like in game, and everything that I'm talking about references in game, right? We're not talking about real life as far as how to run this thing, but another thing is like in the back of my mind is stuck brakes too, with it being this long of a train. We got another diamond board. That's going to be 45. We may as well count it off. Because whatever that other diamond board is going to be irrelevant now. So anyway, yeah, this is Manchester to we may actually just do like a super long series and take this thing all the way to Jacksonville. That's what I'm thinking. We'll just run the entire service. So the way it originally was early on in the early 2000s was that they ran it Manchester to Waycross, and they swapped out at a place down there called the Ice House, and then another crew would take it from Waycross to Jacksonville. I want to say it was a Savannah crew, but don't quote me on that. I could very well be wrong. That's just an assumption on my part. I know the Savannah crews had it kind of rough back then. CSX Q121's got clear north end of Woodland, 9023 south out. Savannah crews had it rough because they on the south end they'd run Savannah to Waycross to Jacksonville to Savannah on to Nahuna. Like they ran all over the place. So I think like originally a Savannah crew would take it from Waycross to Jacksonville, and then probably around 2002, maybe sometime in 2002, they started a long pool, and basically the long pool ran from Manchester to Jacksonville, so it was like 275 miles or something like that. Here, watch your speed because it is going to start flattening out on us right here. We're going to start easing up on the dynamics, and then we got our 45. Okay. Wish I'd kind of gotten out of those a little bit earlier so we could have gone right to pulling. So yeah, either way, we'll take it to Jacksonville. I think that would be fun. I think that'd be fun to do. It's one of the few things in my railroad career that I kind of regret that I didn't take that trip. I actually stood for it a little bit towards the end. I would stand for it every once in a while. Someone would go on vacation or something and I would stand for it, because basically that pool was the oldest of the old heads took that job. They ran the long pool. So if they went on vacation or something like that, I could briefly get it. Like I could get it long enough for a trip. I'd probably be bumped off of it before I got back home, but I could at least get it briefly. All right, let's go with it here for a bit. We got 45 here, but unfortunately we got 35 in just 3 miles. So, I mean, we're not going to be able to get like super fast with it. But yeah, I wish I had. I think it'd have been fun to run 70 down south just to say that I've done it. But we'll do the whole 9 yards, and we'll do it the way it was explained to me. Now, I had an engineer friend that tried to get me to go down with him on a trip. He's like, "You can go Jacksonville with me sometime." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not qualified down there. Like, I don't know anything about it. I'm not qualified south of Waycross. He's like, oh, you can go. He's like, I know it. I've been down there many times. And so he told me the whole routine. If I remember this correctly, like a lot of people think that when you take a pig from the north to the ramp down in Jacksonville, that they just all went in at Dinsmore, and that wasn't the case. They didn't just go in at Dinsmore. If you look at the map here, we'll check it out. Where's Dinsmore at? There's Callahan. Dinsmore. Okay, yeah, here's the Y for Dinsmore. Basically, the way the 121 was set up back then is on the head end, it would have a Talleyrand block. A Talleyrand block would be like international cars going to the port there at Jacksonville. Then it would have FEC block, a Florida East Coast block behind that, and then it would have Jacksonville, Duval cars, Orlando cars, and then finally Tampa cars on the bottom. I've got a tonnage graph for this train from way back in the day that I had. But yeah, that's basically the way they used to block it. So what they would do, TSX Q12115's got clear south Woodland, 9023 south out. What they would basically do is they wouldn't go in at Dinsmore. They would just go south to Moncrief. And we may as well just keep going with this, trucking with this 35 here. They would go to Moncrief and they would set the Talleyrand and the FEC block out at Moncrief Yard. And then they would couple back up to their trade and go around Honeymoon Y and go to the ramp on the south end at Duval. They take Duval connection, so they go out like the S line, like you're going to Tallahassee, and then they take Duval up into the ramp. And they'd cut their train off there at the ramp, and then they would cut their power off. Sometimes they would leave their power there, but a lot of times I think they said they brought their power back to Moncrief. So they would go one of two ways back to Moncrief with their power. They would either go the way they came, back out at Duval and around that way, down the S line, or they would go that industrial branch. I want to say they said they would go the industrial branch too, maybe. Like I said, this has been years and years ago, so like, don't quote me on any of this, but I think that's what they said, that they would go that way. But yeah, then they'd have to take their power back to Moncrief to be serviced. Then the next day they would take rest, and next day they'd get the Q120, and it was exactly the opposite. They go on duty at Moncrief, they get their power, take it to Duval, couple up to their train, take it back through Moncrief, grab the I kind of wonder, no, I'm almost certain they came back around the other way. I was kind of wondering if they just took the Talleyrand's and FEC's with them from Moncrief. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure on that. I want to say they just did the opposite. His XQ121's got a clear wood yard, 9023 south out. Used to be a pulpwood yard right there on the right hand side. Yeah, I want to say they did the opposite on the 120, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But either way, it's like it wasn't as cut and dry as you think it would be, is how they did it. There's a video, I found a video on YouTube a long time ago of like the 176. It was one of those Philadelphia Northeast trains doing that same thing. A rail fan, I guess they're filming it at Old Kings Mill Road where it used to cross there, and the 176 came rolling in northbound into Moncrief and picked up a cut and then went north. Like they did exactly the opposite of what I said the 121 did. All right, so we're back in our 35. We're going to be in this 35 for a while. I think there's a 40 down here at the bottom. So it's roughly about 1%, give or take, going to Big Liza. back out of the dynamics just a tad. Let's scooch our seat over a little bit. I always felt like the seat was a little too far away from the cab wall. Just seems like it. Maybe it's not. There we go. Check out the dynamics just a little bit more. So yeah, either way, it's going to be a fun trip. We're going to do it the way I said. We'll go to Moncrief. We'll set the Tallyrans and the FECs out, and then we'll take the rest of the train to the ramp. And who's to say, like, how they do it nowadays could be completely different, because you know how railroads are. They're all the time changing up their operations. All right, back out of dynamics a little bit more. All right, there we go. Now she's picking up. Yeah, I'd much rather run a short heavy train. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more action packed. A lot more air use. I just feel like on this one, the way I run it, I have to anticipate things a lot more with it, because you don't want to touch the air. At least I don't. I'd rather not. All right, I think this is our 40 right here. Yeah, that's our 40 diamond board. Count you off. There we go. All right, we're going to keep rolling forward with a bit. Since OBS has been giving me problems, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video right here, and then I'm going to splice in the next segment of it. So we're not really going to miss anything. So we'll be catching up in just a second. All right, there we go. That seemed pretty seamless. It worked out, at least for this purpose. I'd rather do like one continuous hour-long recording, or ever how long this is going to be. But here lately, OBS is not like the long videos. That's where I had the problem. Like, it hangs up with the long videos. It's like it's trying to process the video or something once you stop it. And so I'm trying, like, we broke this one up into two 30-minute sections, and then I'll just splice them together in editing. But like, at least that should ensure that we have a good video, because I've already done this thing like 3 times. You know, it's like the needle sub videos that I did. I had to record them like multiple times to get them to work. All right, so we're halfway into our 40. 35, just a hair over 35. Coming up to our crossing down here at the bottom. This stretch of railroad here from like Manchester to Talbotton is so rugged. It's like one of the few stretches where there's not a lot of road crossings. Yeah, it's definitely pretty rugged through here. Start backing out of this dynamic. It's great. Our grade's starting to lessen a little bit. I want to be able to start pulling on these things as soon as we get close to that 40. All right, CSXQ 121's got a clear Big Liza 9023 south out. I've heard it called the Big Laser too. I just remember one guy in particular, the one that I cub with down here, called it the Big Liza. Honestly, I don't know what like the correct pronunciation would be. We're about out of our yeah, there's our 40 right there. Let's mark you off. All right, back into the throttle. So we got 40 for about not even 3 miles. Relatively flat through here. I think this cut up here, there's a little bit of a knot there, and then it kind of flattens out again, and then we start the climb into Talbotton. Talbotton grade is pretty legit for a heavy train. I think it's probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest. You're a little bit more throttle. All right, she's doing good. Yeah, I was looking over the conductor side. It reminds me a lot of an AC 4400 on that side. I can't remember what the AC 4400 engineer sides look like. Maybe they had 2 screens. I don't remember this. I think that was down. Maybe. I don't know. I'm really fuzzy on that stuff. But the interesting thing about these Dash 9s for CSX in game is that they're not like true Dash 9s. These are like the hybrids. These were the first. So it's basically Dash 9 electronics and supposedly in a Dash 8 car body with a Dash 8 trucks and everything. I'd love to see some AC 4400s in game for CSX. I think if we need any like modern CSX power, that would be a big one for me because they were everywhere. There were tons of them, and they were good too. Like I never had a problem with them. I don't ever remember one breaking down on me or like causing any kind of like serious mechanical failure. The only thing I can remember on 2 different occasions we had AC 4400s that gave a locked axle indication or something on the lead unit, and they weren't. Like it was almost like it's a bug. Maybe. I don't know. Alright, let's get ready to attack this grade into Talbotton here. This, like I said, this is a legit grade, and then you add these curves on top of it, these reverse curves, and it'll really have a big effect on you. Run 8's the only train sim I've ever played where you can tell how curves have an effect on your train. Like you can really tell it if you really watch and pay attention to it. All right, let's get rolling with her. The 1% up. I was watching the speed, see if she started dropping down. If we hit it a little bit fast, I'm fine with it. Looks like it's dragging us down now. Makes me want to run a tonnage train south. Always like the southbound trips more as far as like in game. That's gonna be our 35 right here. That's our 35 diamond board. Let's execute 121.15's got a clear distance to Talbotton, 923 south out. All right. What is this diamond board? I can't remember. There's a 40. 40 diamond board. All right, let's count that one off. I'm not looking at anything, so I'm really kind of doing this by the seat of my pants. I kind of vaguely remember some things, but I don't do it enough to like really get it down down good. There goes our Talbotton water tower there. It's like some storage buildings and like they had a little church down there. There you go, yeah. That's cool. I think that's new. I don't remember that being there, but I love little details like that, like kind of hidden off in the distance. And that's so true to life. Like, it really just is. All right, this is one of my favorite spots on the route. I got a few spots that I really like. This is one of them. With the overhead bridge there, the wooden bridge, and then the old code line on the bank. It's all overgrown. And then up here under the bridge on the bank, we got the kudzu, right? If you're not familiar with kudzu, if you're not from the southeast or you don't know anything about it, kudzu is a vine. It's not native to America, but they brought it here back in the 20s and 30s for soil erosion, soil conservation, that sort of thing. They didn't realize how it takes over everything, though. Like, it'll literally take over everything. It can grow like a foot in a night. In like ideal growing conditions, it can grow a foot in the night. It can choke out forests. Like, it grows over the trees and like blocks off the light. It can literally kill forests. She drug down a little bit on that 1% there. I'm kind of surprised. I thought she'd been good for 30 maybe. All right, what is this diamond ward here? Or 55. All right, let's count it off again. 3,000 feet, we'll be able to do 45. 40 or 45, I think. CSXQ 12115 has got clear north end Talbotton, 9023 south out. All right, come by the siding here at Talbotton. They just misspelled in game. I think the distance say Tal Bottom. It's actually Talbotton. Got a few crossings here. I want to say there used to be a wood yard here too, back in like way back in the day, over on the right hand side, somewhere over there. When I say wood yard, I mean pulpwood. Alright, there we go. That's it for our crossings for now. Our speed looking like. Make sure she doesn't slip up on us. Alright, we'll be swinging around to the south end shortly. We're in that 40. We do have a 35 a little further up around Junction City, I think. Somewhere up around there. There you go, got another clear. CSXQ 12115's got clear south end Talbotton. 9023 south outs. So this signal up here, I've seen people like, this is a question you get a lot about, like, especially the old Atlantic coastline signals is, what does the blue light mean on the signal down here? You see it, right? We got our clear, then we got our little blue light off on the right. That's going to be a dial alarm, and that basically means that a track intervenes between the signal and a track governed by the signal. So basically, the siding is intervening between the signal and the main line, which it governs. The siding is governed by the dwarf at the bottom there. So that's what it means. That's all it means. Just a way to signify that. Even back in the day, a lot of them didn't work. A lot of them were burned out, and they just never bothered fixing them. But there were a few that worked. There were a few. Some of them were kind of neat because I don't know if there was something messed up with the lens or what was going on with them, but they almost had like a purple look to them instead of blue. All right, now we're at 55, but we got a 50 coming up just here in a bit. That was kind of a moot point. We can stay in it, actually. So honestly, to me, this stretch between like Talbotton and Junction City or Brown Sand is like some of the trickiest running on this route. Like, it's just crazy all over the place as far as up and down. Let's kill that distance counter there. So we do 50, but we've got the we got a 35 up here. I think we've got a 40 or 45 up here somewhere as well too. We'll just have to keep an eye out for that. Here's our 50 coming up right here. All right, there's our 50. We got a 40. Okay, we got a 40 coming up in a few. There's our northbound distant to Talbotton. I can tell you now, if you're coming around there northbound and you're doing 50 and you're pulling on it pretty good, like you're pretty deep in the throttle pulling through there, and you get an approach light there, you better grab some air. But that is a short block. It is definitely a short block between the distant and Talbotton. And if you just try to do it with dynamics, like if you're in the throttle a little bit to maintain 50 and then you pop around that curve and see that approach, and you get all the way out of the throttle and you get all the way into dynamics, you're going to like you might get a red board, like you might get by that. It's really like, what I like to do is just grab some air, let the train start slowing down, and you can be backing out of the throttle and getting in your dynamics. You don't even have to hang on to the air. Like, once you get established in dynamics, you can let go of the air and then just use dynamics to stop, or do whatever, because either way, you might have a stop there or you might go into siding. You know, the approach, it could be one of two. All right, we got a 35 coming up as well. Another favorite spot in the game. I just like this stretch through here. Just something about it. The trees in the distance there. I know people throw off on the vegetation and run 8 all the time. You know, if you were to look at it like a leaf by leaf basis, no, it's not the greatest. But as a whole, I think it definitely helps. Like, it's a pretty accurate representation. You see people throw off on like, well, it's just a tunnel of trees. Well, it's what it's like in real life. Like, you know, you didn't see much of anything other than trees. I don't know what people expect, you know. Like, it literally, this is the way it was, you know. This is the way it was, except in winter. When winter it came along and the leaves fell off, you could see a little further back in there, but even then it wasn't a lot. CSX Q121 15's got a clear signal, Highway 90 9023 south out. Yeah, this stretch through here, all the up and down, is really kind of jacking me up as far as like how I need to run this thing through here. Like we got the 40 a little over half, but really I'm thinking more about the 35 than anything. Let's go with this for a bit. She's kind of running along a little more than what I thought she would. You see a little, it's like a little knot right there. Let's take a peek at our trade and see what she's doing. Yeah, she's pretty good. Not much of anything going on with it, honestly. What is that temp? 42 degrees. Okay, it's 42 degrees outside. 2 HPT. All right, this is our 40. Yeah, that's our 40 there. We got our 35 coming up. I really like, I don't want to go in dynamics through here if I don't have to, but we may very well have to. Let's see what she does. It's just the profile is all over the place through here. It really just is. Like, there she, okay, she's slowing down. We may hit it a little bit fast, but I think there's a climb out of here, out of that 35 there. $35 should be just right up here. Yeah, there she is. There they go, kill the bell. Yeah, that worked out pretty good. Yeah, I just, the way the terrain is through there, I didn't want to, like, I felt like if we went in dynamics, you see now, like, all our speed is just dumping off all of a sudden because that little 1% grade back there. I think it's just like a really short 1% grade. This XQ 12115's got a clear distance to Brown Sand, 9023 south out. All right, we're gonna be going right on by Brown Sand. I'm not sure where our first meet's going to be, but we got to be getting fairly close. Coming into Junction City now. Junction City, Georgia. Got us another diamond board here. What is that going to be for? 40? Yeah, it's going to be a 40 right there. Let's go ahead and count that off. Counter, go into draw a little bit more. We shouldn't have to worry about any, like, much of any downhills through this stretch here. I think it's pretty flat. I say we always have the luxury of that top status bar there. It helps a whole lot when you're not, like, super familiar with it. A little bit of a downhill. The switch up here to the left's been, like, as long as I remember, out of service. I think it was a sand pit maybe down in there. I think it went way down in there. A little over halfway into our 40 there. We're at Junction City, DD.
CSX, equipment defect detector, milepost 76.
It's crossing the NS. I think that's the, what is that, like the Fort Valley line or something? Is Macon to Columbus, Georgia. Kind of a secondary line. Should be getting in that 40 anytime now. There we go. We talked about the needle sub run, how the speeds aren't accurate in game. Ooh, this is like a sharp 40-mile-an-hour curve with a crap ton of super elevation into it. That's crazy. Yeah, we talked about needle sub. Speeds weren't accurate. They are accurate on this line. 100% dead on to the timetable. All right, so we can do 40. This is another spot in game, like on the Fitz. It's kind of a tricky location to me. Like if you coming around to the north end of Brown Sand looking out, this actually is kind of a little misleading spot here. It's like a almost a 1% grade, like a 0.9, 0.88% grade in that sharp curve there. Like it's kind of a tough spot, especially if you have to stop up here. It's a really super tough spot to get started again if you're low HPT. CSX Q12115 has got a clear north end of Brown Sand, 9023 south out. There, here go Brown Sand. Like that little, kind of little marshy area there, a little bit of water standing. Brown Sand, named after Brown Sand, could be named after Brown Brothers Sand, located here for many, many, many years, where they mined sand. They got sand out of here. I don't know who owns it now. I want to say Brown Brothers was down here like right after the railroad was built in the early 1900s. I think it's been around like for a super long time. Yeah, we just cleared that. Just now cleared that DD back at Junction City. That's crazy. All right, she's going to dip down to the south end and then climb back out. So I want to kind of back out of the throttle a little bit in anticipation of that. Our next meet may be up here on the double main. All right, there's our resumed speed. It's going to be 60-mile-an-hour railroading here. Track off to the little Y off to the left there is where Brown Brothers was at, and then you got the storage track there. Storage track always had a ton of like rock hoppers, tons of those like gray CSX rock hoppers, and the black ones. I think sometimes you'd see like covered hoppers for sand. CSXQ 121.15, you got clear southbound sand at 923 south out. You see the climb out of here, 0.7. All right, I think our rain stopped. Killer wipers there. Spur on the right is going to be another sand mine. I don't know if that was part of Brown Brothers or not, to be honest. But they load sand back in there. So they got ballast hoppers in there for some reason. I don't know why. Those should be like little covered hoppers. Like little 2-bays. I have zero clue why there's ballast hoppers in there. This is a world save I got somewhere. I really honestly couldn't tell you where I got it from. Maybe the depot. Probably more likely a save that was on a depot somewhere. All right, so brown sand and malt. Relatively flat with some up and downs. Like, it's up and downs, you know, but nothing like crazy. As you call it, hogbacks. There we go. Should be 60-mile-an-hour railroading. There you go. Oh, one of these. There it is. There's a graveyard. I think that's a graveyard over there. Looks like it. Maybe one of these crossings down there had one. All right, so we get to do 64 a little bit at least. And we got to approach limited. Got 55 in 3 miles. SXQ 121.15's got approach limited distant to Malt. 923 south out. Alright, so we're going to be going down number 2 main. On the double main. So we get the Malt. Once you get to Malt, you're going to go down the Georgia Fall line. It's going to be the 1% grade for about 7 miles. Georgia Fall line goes, it's a geological feature where like the Appalachians transition to the coastal plain or whatever. I don't know, not a geologist, but either way, it's a big drop off. It's like across the entirety of the state, the entire width of the state. All right, so we're doing 60. We got a 55 coming up, but remember we got to do 45 going into Malt to the switch there. Got to do approach limited. Look at that up and down. Is that not cool or what? It's so that's so dead on. Like it's just the up and down rolling hills. Yeah, you see it's pretty good little sag right here, right? Pretty nice climb out. 1% down, 1% right back up. We're not going to get too crazy with it on the speed because, like I say, I am having a little bit of trouble anticipating like what the train is exactly going to do because she's like so far out there behind us. Another 1% right back up. These hogbacks are legit. All right, coming in, Malt. I think there was a siding here back in the steam engine days. I think it's a storage track now, but I think this was a siding way back in the day. This is Highway 90 again. It's going to cross over and then turn and cross right back over on the other side here in just a second. Yeah, there you go. Kill the bell. And we got limited clear. So it looks like, yeah, we're definitely going to have some kind of a meet here. CSXQ 12115 has got limited clear, Malk. Single main number 2, 9023 south out. All right, here we go through the switch. We gotta get ready to transition downhill through here. So it drops off, but I think it kind of stair steps. Maybe it kind of flattens out a little bit. It's this place called Trash Dump. Yeah, I'm trying to remember how that went down. I think it did. I think it dropped and then stair stepped a little bit. Not like perfectly flat, but just eased up and then dropped off again the rest of the way. So we'll just kind of, we'll kind of go with it here for a bit. No, there's our meet. Nice. It's like auto racks. Cool. I think it's going to be the Q214 empty auto rack. It was Baldwin to Louisville back in the day. One of many auto rack trains. Went up the Fitz, Q220, Q230. What else was there? There was a ton of them. Those are the ones I remember off the top of my head. I should have counted off that switch back there. I forgot to. That was just the northbound trains. The southbound trains, Q215, Q213, Q237. Yeah, you see our grade kind of eased up right here. This is going to be our stair step right here. Pretty looks like. The 214 train looks good. Marker's hanging. We're getting into dynamic here. It's a lot to do. Sometimes it gets really busy, like between blowing the horn and like everything else that's going on. Got here. There's CSX Q121 15's got a clear trash dump, number 2 main, 923 south out. So that spur off to the right is Southern States landfill, so it's called trash dump. 45 right here. Actually, I don't need to count that. Never mind. Yeah, that spur goes back in there and they unload the trash cars back in there. I think sometimes they take gons and covered hoppers too. I guess covered hoppers of lime or something that they use. I don't know. Don't really know what was in those cars. What I remember, mainline trades used to set trash cars out there, like not locals, but like a run-through freight would have trash cars on the head end. They just set them over there. I've done it before. I did that before on a freight, so I don't know if that was like just an exception or if that was the norm, but that's what I did. I was on like a 544 or something down here that had those trash cars on the head end. We had to set them out. Ooh, just got into the rain big time. It's like a little shower. That was abrupt. All right, let's count you off. A little more into the dynamics. 6,700 tons in B6 isn't bad, honestly, on 1% grade. I think if she was, like, say, 4,500 feet long, it'd been completely different. Like, we would have needed to use some air. Your wipers going again. Well, I think we're good to go for a bit as far as meats. We'll see. We'll go a little bit further. We'll get off the double main. We'll probably end that video there and then pick up with the next one sometime. I said it's going to be a long series. We got 275 miles go to Jacksonville, so we'll eventually get our way, work our way down there, get down there. CSX Q12115's got a clear signal Dyson, number 2 main, 9023 south out. Got the Vaders. This double main's new. It was put in the very early 2000s. Maybe 2000 to 2002, maybe 2001, somewhere in there. So that's why they got the Vaders. They're not the OG signals. Used to be nothing here. Like, you would go, Brown Sand was a siding, and then the next siding was down here at a place called Rupert that was like 8,000 feet long. And that was it. That's kind of a long stretch between Brown Sand and Rupert to not have a siding, especially for the northbounds that are on that 1% grade. All right, we're back to 60-mile-an-hour railroad. But we're about to be ready to do a 45 through the switch up here at the other end. We basically may as well just stay where we're at. We can get a little faster, but we can do maybe 50. We might get 50 out of it. At least that's what I want to get out of it. Yeah, so many good trains to run. We could run a Q214 northbound. That would be a good one. A Q215 south would be really good. Q213, like, there's so many good ones. Loaded phosphate train northbound would be a good one. Grain train south, like, there's really just a ton of good ones we could run. I got approach limit on the distance. Yeah, we do. CSX Q121 15 has approach limited distant to Rupert, number 2 main, 923 south out. And their grade's going to kind of lessen up a little bit here. We do this on intermittent wiper. So I think intermittent 1 would be best. It's just barely drizzling on us. So yeah, we got the steep grade through here, but I mean, it's pretty much, for the most part, downhill all the way to Oglethorpe, to the Flint River. A few spots where it kind of has like a little knot, like there at the south end of Ideal. And you start slowing down for this 45 up here. CSX Q12115 has got limited clear. Rupert, number 2 to single main, 9023 south out. All right, back to single main. All right, count that 45 off, so at least we'll know we're clear of the switch. All right, we'll clear the switch up and we'll call it a day, then we'll pick up again a little bit further down here. Yeah, this is going to be a fun trip. I'm really excited for it. It's just, this route keeps you so busy. constantly doing something. There's no like putting number 8 and just letting it do its thing for hours, you know, for an hour or 30 minutes or whatever. It's gonna be what, 45 right here, I think. Yeah, that's 45 diamond board. So I'm trying to think how we can run this thing down through here because it is downhill. It's like a roller coaster downhill. It's not like super steep. And it's got enough little areas where it kind of slacks off that we may have to pull on it downhill. I'm not exactly sure how to approach this. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like I said, running a really long train like this kind of changes the dynamics up a good bit. See what she does. Yeah, I think we're about to pull on it. I kind of wondered if like getting a soft set and just dragging it down through here under power, but like soft sets are above my pay grade and I don't even know like how that would work out in game. I don't even know how that would work with a really long train like this too. Like, I don't know. Probably not that. We should just be able to, we'll just go in power and we might have to go back in dynamics. I think it'll be all right. All right, this signal, I have no clue. This is like a milepost signal. 743, okay. CSXQ 12115 has got a clear signal 743, 1923 south out. Yeah, we may just have to pull on her downhill through here. The areas where the grade slacks up may be enough to kind of average out the down, you know, the steep portions. Yeah, we'll go by our railfan location up here. Is it a railfan location or a meth bus? It's a railfan, right? Like they got their chairs out there. They got their chairs. They've been sitting watching. It's a pretty good location to watch. All right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and end this here. And we'll just pick up with another video sometime. Love all you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below. And we'll catch you next time. Peace. No, big cat. No. Stop. Oh no, no, kitty. Oh, that's a MiG. That's a MiG over us. Okay, it's the weirdest day ever. Oh no, he just fell. He just fell.